Hi, it's Katrina! From a dictator's mansion to a neolithic temple complex, here are 9 strange archaeological discoveries. Number 9. Mysterious Kurgan. Archaeologists doing a routine search in Russia before the construction of a gas line found something amazing. They uncovered an entire chariot buried underground in Stavropol, Russia. Dating back to the Bronze Age, the chariot is the first one found in one piece in the entire country. It was actually part of an ancient burial mound known as a kurgan. These were a type of grave usually containing the remains of a wealthy or high-ranking person, as well as grave goods, sacrificial offerings, and horses, with a hill built over it. This one contained a skeleton buried deep underneath, along with pieces of pottery, although more things are being uncovered. It seems to have been a very common type of burial, with sites like these all over the place. Most of the graves like this uncovered so far contain the remains of warriors based on the weaponry found along with them, but others are not so nice. The Bronze Age was quite violent, with warrior groups battling each other and collecting heads from the enemy. Many artifacts and remains from this time contain evidence of extreme violence, such as severed heads and severe battle injuries. Kurgans found throughout Eastern Europe date as far back as the 3rd millennium BC, brought to the region from elsewhere by an elusive nomadic warrior tribe called Kurgans. There is a theory that these people dominated Europe and South Asia between 3500 and 2500 BC. Kurgan burial mounds were built by numerous different cultures, including the Scythians and Saka, as well as other mysterious societies of Indo-European origin. They left kurgans all over the Eurasian steppe, some filled with beautiful and elaborate gold objects. Very little information is available regarding the Stavropol discoveries in 2016. At press time, archaeologists announced their intentions to continue excavating the site to learn more about it. They still have no idea who this person might have been. Number 8. Sutro Baths. Built in western San Francisco's Outer Richmond district in 1896, the Sutro Baths were once the world's largest indoor swimming establishment. Built by Adolf Sutro, a wealthy entrepreneur and the city's former mayor, the 3-acre public bathhouse consisted of 7 swimming pools that were kept at different temperatures, and the facility boasted slides, trapezes, a diving board, and a high dive. Altogether, the pools held 1.7 million gallons of water, which came from the nearby Pacific Ocean during high tide, taking just 1 hour to fill. The facility had a 10,000 guest capacity and offered 20,000 bathing suits and 40,000 towels for rent. Sutro died in 1898, just a few years after the Sutro Baths opened. His family continued to manage the property, but the baths declined in popularity amid the Great Depression, a lack of public transportation, and due to public health codes. The National Park Service now takes care of the site, which is part of the Golden Gate National Recreation Area. The new owners converted the baths into a skating rink but failed to revive the property, so they sold it. A fire in 1966 destroyed what was left of the baths, and developers pulled the plug on plans to build high-rise apartment buildings in their place. The ruins of the Sutro Baths have been under National Park management since 1973. Number 7. Karnak Stones. In northwestern France, near the South Brittany coast, is a dense collection of megalithic sites known as the Karnak Stones. Dating back to sometime between 4500 and 3300 BC, during the Neolithic era, the structures consist of stone alignments or rows, stone tombs called dolmens, tumuli or burial mounds, and single standing stones known as menhirs. There were once over 3,000 menhirs in Brittany alone. Made from locally sourced granite, they comprise the world's largest standing stone collection. Nobody knows for sure what the menhir's purpose was. Some believe that they are aligned astronomically as a prehistoric calendar or observatory of sorts, while others have suggested that they are ancient seismic instruments to detect earthquakes. Understanding what the menhirs and other stones were meant for is especially difficult because less than 700 of them were still standing by the time excavations began during the 1860s. Even worse, the sites have been neglected since then, and people have repurposed some of the stones, using them as livestock shelters and ovens, while others have removed them to use as building material or to make way for roads. Researchers even disagree on who built the Karnak stones, so for now, their purpose remains a mystery. Number 6. Dictators Mansion. Located in the village of Archangelos on the Greek island of Rhodes, a 2-story stone and wood home known as the Villa de Vecchi once served as Italian dictator Benito Mussolini's vacation home, although he never actually spent his summers there. The tyrannical leader's advisor, Count Cesare de' Vecchi, ended up living in the villa between 1936 and 1947, while governing the Dodecanese Islands, which Italy had seized from the Ottoman Empire in 1912. In 1947, the islands were ceded to Greece, and Villa de' Vecchi was abandoned. Since then, it's remained that way, falling further into decay over the years as vandals broke in and covered the interior in graffiti. According to some, the government deliberately allowed the villa to fall into disrepair as a reminder of the Count's cruel ways and the local people's refusal to become Italianized. Villa de' Vecchi was listed on the real estate market in 2014 and remains for sale to this day. It's one of many properties that Greece is selling in an effort to repay loans it received from the International Monetary Fund and the European Central Bank. Many people argue that the government's willingness to part with certain landmarks and structures equates to selling the Greek heritage. On the other hand, as Hellenic Republic Assets Development Fund Executive Director Andreas Tarpansis pointed out, Villa de' Vecchi and other properties have long been hidden and buried. He sees their sale as an opportunity to showcase forgotten historical and cultural sites to both Greeks and tourists. Maybe Tarpansis has a valid point, but given the amount of time Villa de' Vecchi has remained vacant, it appears as though nobody has been seriously interested in it for quite some time, leaving it still standing empty and decrepit, serving as an eerie reminder of a dark period of the region's history. Number 5. Miami Circle. The Miami Circle, which goes by several names, including the Miami River Circle and Brickell Point, is an archaeological formation consisting of 600 post molds arranged in a perfect circle measuring 38 feet. Located in modern-day downtown Miami, it's the only known evidence in the eastern U.S. of a prehistoric monument cut into bedrock. It's situated in an area that is believed to have served as the capital of the Tequesta Native Americans sometime between 2,000 and 1,700 years ago. The site became a National Historic Landmark in 2009, but some experts question its true age and authenticity. A property developer named Michael Bowman purchased the site and commissioned an archaeological survey as required by law before proceeding with plans to build a luxury condominium in its place. He thought nothing of it until the stones showed up. In addition to the stone structure, archaeologists unearthed numerous artifacts, including shell tools, stone axe heads, human teeth, a sea turtle carapace, a shark and dolphin skeleton, and charcoal from fires. The surprising thing is that the stone axe heads were sourced from at least 600 miles north in Georgia. Wanting to press forward with his building plans, Bowman offered to pay to relocate the circle elsewhere for preservation. But widespread public opposition grew, and these plans were put to a stop when the Dade Heritage Trust sued to keep the circle in place by seeking an injunction against Bowman. A back-and-forth court battle ensued, and Bowman ultimately agreed to sell the property to the state of Florida Preservation Land Acquisition Program for a hefty price tag of $26.7 million. Private donations and public funds financed the transaction. The nomadic Tequesta tribe lived throughout southeastern Florida, putting up a hard fight against outsiders until the diseases brought over by European explorers wiped them out, like so many other Native American tribes throughout the U.S. But researchers cannot say for certain who built the Miami Circle or what they used it for. The prevailing theory is that it was a ceremonial structure of some sort, and numerous Tequesta artifacts were found there, but archaeologists also unearthed items that didn't seem to belong, namely the basalt axe heads. The mystery of the Miami Circle continues. And now for number 4, but first want to give a big shout out to Eddie Chavez and Thai Hai Paye for supporting this channel. Thanks for hanging out with us today, and be sure to subscribe if you're new here for more videos like these. Number 4. Hajar Im. Located on the island of Malta, Hajar Im is a megalithic temple complex dating back to sometime between 3600 and 3200 BC during the Neolithic era. Only its highest stones were visible prior to excavations, which began in 1839. Unlike other Neolithic sites in Malta and on the neighboring island of Gozo, Hajar Im only consists of one temple rather than 2 or 3, which was more common. Its design is similar, however, with the complex being made up of several C-shaped rooms called apses surrounding a central paved area. The apses were screened off by walls and slabs with portholes cut through them like windows, an unusual practice compared to the area's other Neolithic structures. An elliptical hole cut in one of the apses is aligned with the summer solstice, causing sunlight to shine through and illuminate a slab in the room on that day. This led researchers to believe that Hajar Im may have been used for fertility rituals, a theory supported by the discovery of voluptuous female statuettes at the site. The builders used locally sourced materials, including hard and soft limestone. Although the complex has remained in arguably good condition over the millennia, the elements are eroding it. A protective roof was installed over the site several years ago, and while it deducts from the aesthetic quality of the buildings, it's helping to keep them intact. It appears as though Hajar Im was abandoned when the Stone Age abruptly ended around 2500 BC. When the Phoenicians arrived to the area in 700 BC, they found this and other Neolithic sites deserted, with the civilizations who occupied them having left no traces behind of what caused them to flee. Number 3. The first written story. Tens of thousands of years ago, people living on what is now the Indonesian island of Sulawesi began telling stories by painting images on cave walls. The oldest among them dates back nearly 44,000 years, making it the oldest known story ever recorded, and quite possibly the oldest record of a spiritual belief. The image depicts a group of small human-like hunters facing off with wild pigs and a type of dwarf buffalo called a noa. It was found scrawled across a 14.8-foot-long wall in a difficult-to-reach cave chamber. The team that made the discovery believes that the picture shows a game drive, during which wild animals were corralled or driven toward a group of waiting hunters. On the left side of the mural is the dark red tracing of a human hand, which perhaps served as the artist's signature in the absence of a written language. Upon closer examination, the researchers realized that the hunters in the scene only look partially human, with some bearing animal-like snouts, as well as one hunter with a beak and another with a tail. They may have been wearing masks, or they may be human-animal hybrids, which commonly appear in ancient rock art throughout the world. Additionally, the animals in the image are depicted as being much larger than they are in real life compared to humans, making the scene seem more mythical in nature, rather than a retelling of a real-life experience. Archaeologists still aren't sure what the picture means, but they agree on one thing: it tells a story, perhaps a fictional one. They determined the mural's age by measuring the age of the mineral deposits that they found covering it. The oldest layer of deposits dates back 43,900 years, indicating that the painting was created sometime before then. Number 2. Extinct hominid burial site. The early human fossil record has many gaps in it, leaving modern experts with more questions than answers about our family tree. In late 2013, archaeologists discovered 1,400 bones and 140 teeth belonging to at least 15 hominid skeletons deep in a South African cave. They identified the remains as belonging to a previously unknown extinct early human species called Homo naledi. The bones bore a unique combination of traits, including some that resembled the ape-like Australopithecus that emerged around 4 million years ago, and others that look more closely like human features, despite our species having appeared just 200,000 years ago. Based on its skull size, Homo naledi's brain was less than half the size of ours, more closely resembling Homo species that date back roughly 2 million years. It's believed that Homo naledi existed sometime between 335,000 and 226,000 years ago. These early humans stood at just 4 feet 9 inches tall on average and weighed about 88 pounds. Experts believe that the skeletons found in the cave were deliberately laid to rest. If this is the case, that makes Homo naledi extremely unique. Did they bury them with some sort of ceremony? Did they believe in something? Did they have gods or spirits, or perhaps think of an afterlife? So many questions to ask! Their relationship to other Homo species remains unclear, presenting scientists with yet another challenge in untangling the complicated web of human history. Number 1. Wholemole carvings. Archaeologists working in Guatemala's Petén region were lucky when in 2013 they beat looters to the Wholemole archaeological site, where they encountered a 1,400-year-old stucco carving of previously unknown Maya gods. The criminals had previously robbed graves at the site, leaving behind an open tunnel. While filling the tunnel in, workers discovered the 26-foot-long stucco relief. The archaeology team had already partially excavated the site, finding a Maya building filled with artifacts including 1 human burial, 28 ceramic vessels, and a funerary mask. It's far from the largest Maya structure ever found, but bears a unique and vast array of inscriptions and artwork not seen at other sites. More specifically, the frieze bears images of human figures clad in jade jewelry and extravagant headdresses, including at least 5 previously unknown rulers and 2 previously unknown gods. Researchers determined that the ruler of the powerful Naranjo kingdom, located to the south of Wholemole, commissioned the work sometime during the 590s. An inscription below the relief identifies a great king, crediting the leader with restoring the local ruling line and patron deities. Wholemole was established as early as 800 BC and was abandoned around 900 AD amid the classic Maya collapse, making it one of the longest occupied Mayan cities and one of the last Maya cities to be deserted. It peaked sometime between 750 and 900, during which time walls were built around the settlement, causing archaeologists to speculate that Wholemole's inhabitants made a last-ditch effort to protect their city from the final siege that caused everyone to flee. Thanks for watching! Remember to subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you tomorrow! Bye!